Exmouth Way, it's not on the bottom. Richard Adamson, and on the end, Chris Rook.
What your roles are?
Yeah, at the moment I'm chair of the trust. Sandra is secretary. Sorry, treasurer. Ben is secretary. Getting ahead of myself there. We did have roles defined for everybody else, but we're really looking at those now in the light of the fact that we're now running a football club and we weren't 6 weeks ago. So we may well be looking at those roles again in the coming weeks. I'll just add that we're all football fans and have been, fans of Scarborough, and have been for donkey's years. And in total, I think we've got about 200 years combined following Scarborough between us. So I hope that answers.
If I could just say thank you very much indeed. I wasn't putting you on the spot, but thank you.
No, you're quite right to. You're quite right to. Any more?
If someone was to make a donation of, say, £200-300, how would the club acknowledge that? Would it be in the form of putting something in the programme? And a friend of mine would quite willingly do this, and he would just like to know if his firm is away from here, and if to see this in the programme sort of thing, would that encourage more business people locally to come on board?
Well, we'll have various ways of clubs helping out in the usual way. I mean, we've now got a programme editor on board. Thank you very much to James Hunter for offering to do that, and he's drawing up the design for that as we speak, and we need to have a discussion about how much we charge for advertising in that programme. In terms of donations, yeah, people are just making straight donations. We can list those in the matchday programme, no problem with that at all.
Do you think it would help though with people coming forward locally?
Yeah. I mean, it'll have a snowball effect. The more people, more companies that say other companies getting involved, I think that will help it to grow and grow.
Do you currently offer any investment opportunities? I'm not saying this is the direction of the trust, but with you being a non-profit organisation, say you did sell 40% of the trust, could you please explain to me how that would work in terms of ownership and potential money return?
Well,
I'm not suggesting that's the way to go, but just let me understand how the dynamic works between the trust and outside ownership.
As it stands right now, the trust is the football club in the same way that FC United are. Most other trusts that own the football club actually own a separate company, a limited company. And as happened at York, the trust there had a major shareholding, and the members chose to sell a large chunk of that shareholding to a third party, and you can't stop that in that regard. It may be that we stay as a trust for the foreseeable future, but if we thought that a limited company was needed, then we could go down that route. Something that we have been exploring is a new type of company called a community interest company, or KIC, which is being explored by various people, and there's talks going on with the National FA as to whether that can be used for a football club, because it essentially helps lock away a certain set percentage of the shares so that they cannot be transferred away. So you could have a supporters trust as the main shareholder, and they would stay as the main shareholder forever, and it protects any assets that the football club has as well. But like I say, initially we're stopping as the trust is the football club, and you can't sell parts of that. The shares that the trust, York Trust, they're owned by somebody else. Yeah, I mean, if the directors of the main football club company board decide to issue dividends, then yeah, they'll go to all shareholders. Yeah.
If on 9th of July, when we have the council meeting, they decide they don't want football in Scarborough again, have you got any backup plans to get team back to Scarborough?
Panic. Seriously, we haven't actually had time to think that far yet. If it does come to that, then yeah, we're going to have to do some serious thinking, and there's a set number of years that the league will allow us to play out of town ground sharing. 5 years.
Have the council given any indications why the plan down Master? Perhaps it's not like us.
From my understanding, it's very confusing. It depends on who you talk to. It is a very complex situation. I think the upshot of it all is that although Ian's last plan with the idea of moving and building a new community stadium at Pinders was a very good idea, and since we found out more about it, we also like it. We think it's a good idea. I think it, from my opinion, was that it was just put on the council too quickly, and they didn't have enough time to look at it in detail and make the full decision. That's only my opinion. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but we are where we are now.
Is there any way you can put pressure on the chair?
If we thought that the route to go was for the council to buy the McCain and lease it back to the football club, then all of us combined would have to put that pressure on the council and make our views known, and put the pressure on the council who represent the people of town to make that decision. If there are other options on the table, then we need to look at those and decide which is the right way to go.
I think all of us, not just the board, all of us and everybody in Scarborough has to, whether that be at the McCain Stadium, whether it be at a community college, sports college through Pinder, or whether it be some other stadia, has to put pressure on the council, has to lobby the council to say exactly what football in the town means to people in the town. Because if we all just sit back and do nothing, they're going to think they don't have to do anything. I think everybody.
Is there a representative from the council here tonight? Is it anybody that represents the people of Scarborough here tonight?
Who decides on the fair market value for the ground what the council would pay?
The question was who decides on the market price that the council would have to pay if they chose to exercise their rights of preemption. It's a very good question. I would imagine that whatever the council offers, the liquidator will reject it, and it will then go to arbitration. You might not see anything sorted out for the best part of a year to 18 months, is the likely scenario.
At what point, Pinder School doesn't belong to Scarborough Council, it belongs to North Yorkshire County Council.
Yes.
And as of the other day, they didn't know anything about the community stadium.
Right. Gentleman by the wall.
Right. At the beginning of the last football season, I said to many officials at Scarborough Football Club, as was, that Scarborough Council at that time wanted rid of the Filey Road Sports Centre when the Park and Ride and Bypass went in. They wanted rid of Weaperness Valley Coach Park. At that time I said, well, why cannot, as Scarborough Football Club's ground at that time was worth so much money, could the ground not be moved onto Weaperness Valley Coach Park? At that time, the Scarborough Council
Just quiet, please.
Scarborough Council wanted rid of Filey Road. In effect, you could fit a minimum of 50 flats in there at the value of a minimum of 200,000, generating council tax money. I don't even like to think about it. That money could have been generated, give the old ground to the council and be put on to Weaperness Valley Coach Park. The old regime projected that we had to go out of town to Seymour. Why couldn't it have been put?
It's academic. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, it's